Hello and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as a huge Corbin Carroll fan. This man next to me, of course, is my vice mayor when I claimed that title. He's also your thunderstick, the one and only Jesse Friedman. Jesse, we're here to talk about Corbin Carroll's greatness today. That's all we're here for.
We almost talked about it yesterday, just made yesterday the Corbin Carroll Rookie of the Year show, because it kind of felt like you could preemptively.
It is how the planning was.
We knew that what happened was going to happen, but now it is official.
It was a foregone conclusion.
Feels a little better to talk about it today.
Sure. I mean, Jesse did come to me and say, Derek, saying that Corbin Carroll is in fact the 2023 NL Rookie of the Year in the title when the ceremony isn't going to take place for about 3 hours until after our show is over. It isn't probably the greatest idea. And
we do know it's unanimous now, though. That was one question that we had on the show yesterday.
Yeah, because we were going to burn down whoever's house did not vote for him, including if it was Jesse Friedman, for sure. He would be the first stop with the mob that we would have had to go check out. But this show, by the way, is brought to you by our brand new T-shirt in honor of the aforementioned Corbin Carroll. Go out and get this brand new shirt. Love this. This is our NL Rookie of the Year. Got a bunch of stats on there. The machine. There's so many people that are asking me about the machine. He is the machine. Corbin Carroll is the machine. And our machine has won the 2023 Baseball Writers Association of America Rookie of the Year award. It's crazy to say that. We knew it was going to happen. I cashed in my preseason bet. That was fun to do. I got my money.
There you go.
But of course, we're going to gush about all of Corbin Carroll's accomplishments and everything that he's done this season. There is one very important thing that we need to talk about right away, though, is that no matter how great this achievement is, no matter, there is that thing of okay, well, what does this do? He wins this award. What does this do? This has huge consequences for the Arizona Diamondbacks, or I should say benefits for the Arizona Diamondbacks, because thanks to the prospect promotion incentive that was instituted, I think after 2021 was part of the new CBA.
Part of the new CBA. Yeah, came out of the whole lockout deal. Yeah,
and the Diamondback, and part of that was to incentivize teams to get their rookies up to the major leagues faster, to not play that game with manipulating their service time in order to keep them in the organization for longer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what they wanted to keep from happening was the Diamondbacks going in and being like, well, if we call up Corbin Carroll on opening day 2023, then he's going to get a full year of service time. But if we wait until, sometime in the middle of May or whatever, the D-backs could have theoretically gotten an extra year of service under the old rules. But that is now, the rules have changed, given that Corbin Carroll won the Rookie of the Year award. If the Diamondbacks had tried to pull that this year with Corbin Carroll and not brought him up to the majors until May of this year, he would have gotten the full year of service anyway under the terms of the new CBA, because he won the Rookie of the Year award. But yeah, there's also an incentive built in to try to get teams to call up their young, talented players as early as those players are ready, which is ultimately what's best for baseball.
It is.
And in this case, what was best for the Diamondbacks. Corbin Carroll got a little taste of the majors last year, which I think was certainly helpful in the season that he was able to put together this year. And as a result, the Diamondbacks get a additional draft pick, which is immediately after the first round in the 2024 first year player draft. It's a pretty big deal. There's a lot of value in having an additional draft pick that high in the draft.
This happened for the Mariners last season with Julio Rodriguez winning the award, and the promotion incentive that Jesse's talking about is such a big reason why we saw so many fresh faces in baseball. I feel like over the last 2 seasons, that's been one of the most exciting things about baseball. There comes a point where you do have to start building those superstars of the future. And sometimes if teams are restricting, when those guys are going to be seen, when they're going to start their career, when that service time is going to begin, it keeps from, seeing this fun crop of rookies that we got to, see on the Reds, we got to see in New York, we got to see all over the place, right? So, of course, we do know, though, that the best rookie is our rookie, and that's Corbin Carroll. So the Arizona Diamondbacks will get that pick after the first round of the amateur draft. But we're just so elated for Corbin. We know he's a very humble guy. There was a clip, I don't think that we have, but one of him talking about all of this, what this meant to him. And he got emotional, kind of like a bit overwhelming for him, because he does at times act very professionally. He acts very maturely, and that does involve kind of keeping your feelings at bay, right? It does keep,
Sure.
it's like they say in baseball, you can't get too high on the highs and you can't get too low on the lows. They got to flush it. You got to move on no matter what and try to learn from what happened yesterday, but build on it for today. Corbin has been doing that for so long. I mean, from the injury, prior to the injury, obviously, from his entire playing career, but from that time that injury occurred and deciding what he was going to do with his time, how he was going to make the most of his time when he was injured. That was just a small example of the kind of person he is, how he was never going to stop trying to get better each and every day, even if he was being held down by an injury.
Yeah, and Corbin talked about a number of things relating to this in a conference call last night. But going back to the draft pick thing real quick, and kind of part of the maturity that he shows in everything that he does. This is what Corbin had to say about getting the Diamondbacks an additional draft pick. Like, this award wasn't just about himself. He said that's probably what brought the most weight to chasing something like this, not for the personal fame or attention, but that ability to benefit my team. And yeah, I mean, given the prospect promotion incentive, it really does make the Rookie of the Year award, like, the bigger implications are for your team, not for you almost. Yeah. I mean, I know Corbin is gonna cherish this for a number of years, but he talked about how he's hoping to be in Arizona for a while, and he's hoping that whoever the Diamondbacks select with that draft pick is another star player that he can play alongside of for a number of years. I mean, that's like we said before. I mean, those are huge implications for this Diamondbacks team moving forward.
And I mean, it just tracks with who Corbin is as a person. What that quote right there, that attitude about it tracks. You put an incentive in front of him that he cared about. And it's not to say that he would have performed any less if it was just for that personal glory. It's not like he would have been interested in it. But you gave him an end goal. You gave him something to play towards that is going to impact a franchise, yes, but is going to also impact him personally, because he is a part of this franchise for a number of years going forward. You want the advantages for your franchise. You want to build on the success from this World Series season. You don't want to just have it be one of those fluke years where, oh yeah, remember that time the Diamondbacks were in the World Series like 7 years ago, 8 years ago? That was cute. That was a fun little run, right? No, we want a sustained success. Even if it doesn't mean getting to the World Series every year, that same success that we've seen out of other franchises that are able to make it to the postseason every year and are able to compete for that title every single year. This team right now has, obviously the building blocks to do that. It's not just a team that's kind of like built for one season and has kind of been going to be deconstructed after this season. But I mean, Corbin is just such a great person. He's such a great player. There's just so many benefits to having this young man as part of this franchise. And I mean, when you take a look at the celebrations from last night, we have some video of him celebrating with his teammates. We saw them out last night. Here's the moment. This is the moment right here. There's the boys. The boys are there in the background. There's Brandon Pfaadt. His parents are there. I mean, all of this is just such a special moment. And I mean, again, the way that they celebrated is kind of what this team is all about. We see Alec Thomas there, right? We just
Pavin Smith,
all the guys are there, right? Pavin looking dope. But I mean, it was just this is what this team is. This is what this culture is right now with these guys. It's not just teammates. It's not. And I poked fun at James Outman a bit, right? Because I got flack. All I said was James Outman, meanwhile, was in his bedroom alone. All right. But it's because James Outman knew, just like the rest of us, he wasn't winning that award. So why was he going to get dressed up and go out and disappoint his friends and be in front of his parents?
I love how mad, a few people were.
People were very mad at me.
So unnecessary. And you doubled down.
I did. I did.
No, that's actually the most necessary part.
Yeah, that is the truth. But again, it was special. It was a great night. It was great to see all of his, players out there, his teammates out there. Evan Longoria brought a card to get signed.
Yeah,
this guy never misses an opportunity to be a collector. I love it and I respect it. We got that screen. Oh, look at this. Yep. 2008 Rookie of the Year, 2023 Rookie of the Year. Yep. Did they exchange cards? Is that what happened there? That's pretty.
I'm pretty sure Evan Longoria provided both cards because Evan Longoria
he has
an excess of baseball cards.
He
absolutely it seems like. But yeah, I mean, I haven't paid like super close attention to this over the years, but I feel like I don't often see guys celebrate stuff like this with their teammates. Usually it is sort of like what Gunnar Henderson had, where it looks like it's in friends. Yeah, it's like maybe at someone's house and there's a bunch of family and friends over to celebrate the moment. The D-backs, it look like, I don't know, rented out like some bar in Scottsdale.
Toca Madera in Scottsdale.
Okay, breaking news.
Yeah,
Derek, how do you know this? Like, how are you able to identify
the
this?
giant we'll see this video here. It's why I'm dressed like this, because me and Tori are teammates. But in the background of one of the videos, there's giant like sugar skull paintings that it's you just recognize it. If you dine out at these amazing establishments, you'll recognize these places. But yeah, no, Chris says it right in the chat. They are a connected team, and that's really what this is an example of. Like you said,
it does seem like, I know that a lot of teams would like to say that they are connected, and like that's something that is not inherently unique to the Diamondbacks, but it does very much appear from what we saw yesterday that there really is something to that maybe there really is like the level of camaraderie with this team is maybe a little bit different than what you see elsewhere. And I know a lot of people really enjoyed watching the videos and seeing everyone celebrate and identifying all the people in the background.
Well, and we were watching that you and I were texting each other about who we were spotting there during the MLB Network special, right? We were seeing all of these guys. Saw Brandon Pfaadt in the background there, and all Alec Thomas.
Everyone saw Brandon Pfaadt.
He was the
easiest one to spot by far.
But we do have the manager, and of course, Tori knows how to make people embarrassed, especially Corbin Carroll, who does not like to hear nice things said about him. But here is Tori talking about his young outfielder, Rookie of the Year, Corbin Carroll.
I do want to just say a couple of things. From my heart, congratulations, Corbin. We have watched you grow up in our system. We have been pulling for you. This was something that we all felt was a strong possibility. It was your focus, your tenacity, and belief that you were going to be something special. And it just landed on square one as a National League Rookie of the Year. There are so many more great moments that lie ahead, and we enjoy this day as a group. But promise me that at some point tonight you sit back and cherish what you did. This is an awesome accomplishment, and for the rest of your life, much like Evan Longoria, you will be the Rookie of the Year for 2023. And I just want to say a heartfelt congratulations. I love you like my own son. This is not an accident. This is an unbelievable accomplishment. Congratulations. Cheers to Glenn.
I love you like a son.
Wow.
I tell Jesse that every single time we talk on the phone.
I love Tori like a dad.
I do love Tori like a dad. Well, we have something to talk about here, though, and that is my attire. But most importantly, it's Tori's attire, right?
You just had this in your closet?
Oh yeah, Jesse, I have everything in my closet. You know that about me with my wardrobe at this point.
It's Devin Booker's Team
USA
jersey.
Yeah, it is Devin Booker's Team USA jersey, and there is this thing to be said about Tori showing up to Toca Madera, which is kind of a nice place in Scottsdale, just in a basketball jersey, right? I'm not trying to knock his choice of attire.
They probably rented out the whole place.
They did.
It was a judgment-free zone.
I'm sure that he's in sweatpants and flip-flops down below that we can't really see. But I will say this: how long has Tori been in that Team USA jersey? Because Veterans Day was a few days ago, and I have a feeling he might not have changed since then. It's just a theory I have. I don't mean to be wildly speculating, but we do know of Tori living in the tent. So, who's to say if he made it out and was able to change in time for Corbin's big night? But all jokes aside, Tori is a tremendous manager. He really does care about these guys so much. He does, like almost to a fault, probably, like I've said in the past, like really does feel like these guys are his kids, especially with all of these 23-year-olds, on the roster right now that have done all the things that they've done this postseason, all the amazing accomplishments they've had. But Corbin specifically, just since the beginning, Corbin does feel like he is, he is a special guy. Tori talked about him being special, obviously, but what he said there is so I think, relevant. You will forever be the 2023 National League Rookie of the Year. You know what I mean? Like, that's never something that goes away. And like, there are other awards and accomplishments in baseball that are great to win and acknowledge the work that you've done and your achievements. But there's something to be said about certain awards like the MVP and the Rookie of the Year, where that never leaves you. Like, even if you never perform at that level again, you will always be remembered for that amazing season you had and that particular achievement.
I feel like having someone speak at you the way that Tori just did with Corbin is like one of the more uncomfortable things that exists in the world. Like when you've done something good, like you done and won some award or something, and someone's just like just gushing at you like in front of everyone, right? They're just like talking about all of the amazing things that you did and all the work and like on this show when I said goodbye to Sean DePaz or Emma Clark, and they just sat there looking at me like, I can't believe you're saying this stuff to me in my face. This is ridiculous. Right. And, you know, as someone who receives compliments very frequently myself, I have a lot of experience.
Go ahead.
I know exactly what Corbin was experiencing in this moment. Derek, I just completely lost Derek at this point. But no, I don't know. I just feel for Corbin in that moment because I know it's like what do you do with your hands? You know, it's like when people are singing you happy birthday or something, right? It's like, how am I supposed to like respond or react to this?
He very much has the energy of please stop this right now. But I
can't blame him at all.
It, right? But I mean, Corbin has talked about obviously everything, you know, good for him in his life, but he's also talked about, you know, the impact he can have. We know the impact he's had on this team already, the impact winning this award will have on the franchise, but it extends beyond that, right? Like we know how the fan interest has grown in this team because of him. And even the fan interest in the sport itself, you know, here in the Valley has grown because of him. It's something he talked about yesterday where he says he hopes that Phoenix area kids will be inspired by his play and winning this award.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was even like really just directed at Phoenix kids necessarily, but just like, you know, what does he hope that the baseball world in general like takes away from what Corbin Carroll was able to accomplish this year? And we have an audio clip from his press conference yesterday, and here's what he had to say.
Thank you. A couple things. Definitely, you know, not the biggest guy out there on the field, but I think my ability, you know, to not be that guy and still be able to impact the game. That's one piece of it. I hope that, you know, not too many, you know, Asian Americans in this circumstance, you know, I think that's another piece of it that I hope to inspire. And also just the style of play, right? Like, just with the respect for the game, being, you know, just going out there and giving your 110%. That's, you know, something that I also hope that people take from that.
I mean, yeah, it's incredible how you can feel like what you're doing impacts the lives of other people.
Yeah, and
inspiring people.
And for Corbin, there really is some truth to like him being in a unique position having won this award. As he mentioned, you don't see a whole lot of Asian Americans winning Rookie of the Year awards, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Ichiro did it, and Corbin talked a lot in this interview also about Ichiro and, you know, sort of continuing that legacy, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he's also 5'10", 165 and hit 25 homers and like that's not a normal thing. And he's certainly not the only one. I mean, you know, like Jose Altuve is out there hitting 25, 30 bombs every year, it feels like. But
it's important. I need to feel like I could do that stuff. We all need to feel like we could do what he does, right? We can't. We know we can't. He's a unicorn, and we should never, ever actually try to compare ourselves to him. But when you do have, like, again, you know, when you're not Aaron Judge and you're kind of more of a normal man in stature and size, then people tend to gravitate towards you a bit more because it is relatable that you are like, you make me believe that had I tried harder, maybe I could have done something with my life. Thanks for that. I love it. But I mean, you know, of course, you know, he does carry himself in a way where I think you also respect like his answers, you respect his thought process, and you just, I don't know, he carries himself in such a different, manner. But I know growing up in the Seattle area that obviously there is the connection to Ichiro, which was a huge hero of his, and winning this award. And I know that's special for him as well.
Yeah. He talked in the interview he was asked specifically about Ichiro and, what it means to win this award. I guess it was 22 years ago that Ichiro won his Rookie of the Year award, if I'm not mistaken. 2001? Is it 2001?
I think so.
It was 2001.
Yeah.
I get him and Pujols mixed up for some reason.
Right.
But or I guess they'd be in different leagues. I just learned that the National League and American League are two different things.
You're gonna lose Yoshi again. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna get fired again. Absolutely. But yeah, he was asked specifically about Ichiro and just what it means to. I mean, there's no secret that Ichiro was sort of a figure that Corbin looked up to growing up, and he had the opportunity to meet Ichiro, of course, at one point, and Ichiro gave him some tips and whatnot. They had a brief conversation, and Corbin talked about how Ichiro very much inspired a Seattle kid as he was growing up, and Corbin said that he hopes to inspire others to follow in his footsteps as well.
By the way, both of those guys won the Rookie of the Year in 2001 because they were, as you said, in different leagues.
Yeah, that's what that's the epiphany that I just had. I was like, wait, they can't be two rookies of the year in the same year.
Absolutely can. That's exactly the way it works.
How the award works. Yes.
But speaking of how the award works, let's take a look at how the ballot broke down. Let's take a look at the full ballots here. And I know we're going to talk, obviously, about Jesse's ballot as well. But as you can see here for Corbin Carroll, it was unanimous that Corbin Carroll was your outright first place winner. And I mean, I know that we knew this was going to happen, and I know that any other.
I don't know
outcome,
if I knew.
I don't know if
maybe you did. I didn't know.
Damon hoped for the well-being of others that this was how things were going to play out.
Well, I'm looking at this, and it's honestly just sad and disrespectful that James Outman's even third. I mean, he should be like sixth.
Well, it's funny you say that because he wasn't third on Jesse's ballot. Isn't that right, Jesse?
He was not. No, this was my first year in the Baseball Writers Association of America. So first time voting, and I was assigned Rookie of the Year. We all vote. I think everyone votes for one award every year. So I was given Rookie of the Year, and I had Corbin Carroll number 1, Kodai Senga number 2, and Nolan Jones was my pick at number 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you compare James Outman and Nolan Jones numbers, there's really honestly no comparison in my mind. I mean, James Outman had a 790 OPS. Nolan Jones had a 931 OPS in 2023. Granted, cores, right? All of that stuff. But even if you go by park adjusted metrics, Nolan Jones still comfortably outperformed James Outman offensively. Obviously, James Outman played more games. Nolan Jones didn't get called up until well into the season. I think he played 106 games when it was all said and done. James Outman was there from the get-go for the Dodgers. But still, if you look at like wins above replacement and whatnot, there's really no comparison between the two guys.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. That's the reason why it was surprising in the first place and why we continue to take shots at James Outman. But to be honest, after the All-Star break, didn't he do some historic things with like his on-base percentage or something like that? So I mean, because sometimes those achievements stick in writers' minds more than the overall results at the end.
You're talking about Outman achieving something?
Outman,
yeah, not that I remember off the top of my head, but
I'm fairly certain there was something there because it's kind of how he went from drifting off after the first month to being kind of back in the conversation.
He finished the season really well.
Yeah,
he had really Outman had like an 850 or 860 OPS, I think, in the second half of the season. But yeah, I mean, Nolan Jones was like not just a good hitter, but a really good defender and stole 20 bases. Like Nolan Jones did everything. Granted, he played for the Colorado Rockies and was not in the spotlight as much as...
Yeah, that's all it is. Let's just be honest about it. One plays for the Dodgers and the other one plays for the Rockies.
Fine, fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I guess shout out to Spencer Steer, even though he had a baseball wrestled away from him by a small child.
He had a baseball wrestled away from him by a small child. We all saw it, and... he deserves no flowers. But
I was gonna put Spencer Steer third, but I just couldn't get that moment out of my head, and so No, that did not factor into my voting.
Forever changes the way you think of someone. The Reds are going to be a problem, though. The Reds are going to be a problem because they have a lot of young guys there on this list. And I mean, Matt McClain, for instance, was excellent for that team.
Yeah, Matt McClain would have been top 3 for sure.
He would have been had he not got injured. Yeah, for sure. But Ellie De La Cruz and Patrick Bailey got votes.
Yeah, I don't.
Patrick Bailey?
I don't know how that happened. The Patrick. I'm not going to name any names, but the Patrick Bailey third place vote came from someone who works at a radio station in the Bay Area. So I think there has to be a little bit of inherent bias there.
Your judgment is corrupted, sir.
Patrick Bailey was outstanding defensively, right there with Gabby Moreno in the Gold Glove conversation, but he had an OPS of sub 700 when the season was over. Just can't give that guy Rookie of the Year vote over Jones and Steer and McClain. And I mean, I could come up with a long list of guys who have to be ahead of Patrick Bailey in that voting.
This is the 5th season in MLB history where the Rookie of the Years in both leagues were unanimous, including the most recent season, 2017, when it was Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge.
Yeah. Decent company.
I think this was it 97 with Roland and Garcia Parra, 93 with Piazza and Tim Salmon, and then 1987, Mark McGwire and Santiago. I'm not familiar. What was Santiago? First name?
I absolutely should know who that is.
I'm putting both of us on the spot right now in a terrible way. This isn't great. Is it Benito Santiago?
Benito Santiago.
I should know that because he's Puerto Rican, and
come on, Derek. My gosh,
absolutely, I'm going to get yelled at by.
I think Mark McGwire is a slightly more recognizable baseball.
I remember him.
Benito Santiago, but Benito Santiago had a heck of a career. Now that I'm looking at his baseball reference page, 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove, 4-time Silver Slugger. Got to give some respect to Benito Santiago now.
Definitely. My fault. Like I said, I'm going to get yelled at by members of my family. But this isn't about them. It's not about us. It's not about Benito Santiago. This entire show is about Corbin Carroll, and we are going to continue to gush about our Roy, our Rookie of the Year, because he was everything. He was everything you could have asked and more. And I think that, again, we say it quite a bit because it really was no surprise that he did win it. But it was surprising that he was able to live up to the hype because few players ever do. And I mean, the hype around Corbin Carroll was fairly significant. But it also hasn't been around a couple of other prospects in the Diamondbacks past. I found a funny photo that it was like from an early show of ours where it was talking about some young prospects that could help this team. And those young prospects were Christian Robinson, Alec Thomas, and Corbin Carroll. So I was like, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And Christian Robinson remains to be seen.
Still in the system, yeah.
But we are going to talk about, of course, Corbin Carroll's top moments from this season because he had so many of those. But, of course, want to make sure everybody's at the top of their game. And a great way to do that is checking out our friends at Hero Bread. Hero Bread makes sliced breads, buns, and tortillas that are available on hero.co and on Amazon. And they are incredible for the very specific reason that they fit whatever your dietary needs are. There's not a specific combination. There's tons of combinations when it comes to Hero Bread. They make it personal for you. You may not be counting carbs, but you may be looking to get more fiber or protein, and Hero Bread has you covered on that. Or if you are looking for carbs, reduction of carbs, they have an ultra low net carbs and 0 sugar per slice in some of their available bread. So make sure to check out everything they have to offer. Fewer calories, but it still keeps that same fluffiness and the deliciousness that you expect out of your bread. And trust me, I am a bread lover. I am part of the bread gang here at work, and we all love Hero Bread, especially our guy Petey. So check out Petey's Twitter account because he is always offering up recipes and ways you can use Hero Bread to make things. I think he made enchiladas the other day with the Hero Bread tortillas. So keep an eye on that. And of course, they have everything to fit your dietary needs or any restrictions that you might have. Right now, Hero Bread is offering listeners 10% off their first order. So just go to hero.co and use code PHNX to save on Hero Bread today. That's HERO.co to save 10% today. Also, if you want to save some money on your home flooring and you don't want to leave your house to do so, check out our friends over at Empire Today. They keep shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection, and their philosophy is all about allowing you to figure out what's best for your home needs while you're in your home, not having to come to a store, not having to go to a showroom. They are all about you checking out the thousands of choices, or excuse me, not thousands of choices, but the curated selection that they have, because they don't have thousands of choices. They offer you exactly what you need for your floor. So, but yeah, that's part of the problem. I know when I went and got my flooring, and I wanted something simple, and there weren't. The simple options were not available. Everything was like, do you want your tiles to look like wood floors and all this other stuff? No, I just want simple tile. And, Empire Today has those options for you. What they leave out of their selection is important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect and most popular styles. They also have their virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how new floors will look in your home. And you can do all of this shopping from home at their website. They also service their own warranties, and they will hire professional installers to make sure the job gets done correctly. Empire Today prides itself on their convenient shop-at-home service, so make sure to check that out today. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for details. We thank you guys, of course, for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. And leave us a little thumbs up. Gabby would appreciate that you did that. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, make sure you go ahead and leave us a review and subscribe there as well. We always appreciate that from you guys as well. I want to say, though, the most important thing is that you go out and grab this shirt, immortalizing Corbin Carroll as our 2023 National League Rookie of the Year. Look at that. That stash is perfect. Stash is flawless.
I mean, being like a big like stats numbers guy, I mean, what more could you ask for?
Right.
25 homers, 54 stolen bases, the first 25-50 rookie in Major League history.
It's hot. That's hot. It's a good looking shirt. So go get it today. But we also have a look now at some of Corbin Carroll's top moments of the season, which Jesse actually has an article coming to gophnx.com for you guys to check all of this stuff out. But yeah, there were some great moments this year. And Corbin Carroll was just such a big part of so many of these moments, including in the postseason, because those, I mean, we could have done a postseason highlight reel alone of what he accomplished.
We really could. Yeah, this was really hard for me to go through like everything that Corbin Carroll has done in 2023 and try to assemble a top 10 list. Because he's done he did a lot of cool things. He had a lot of really incredible moments throughout the course of the season. We'll just kind of highlight a few things here on the show. And then, as Derek said, be sure to check out the article later today at gophnx.com. I still cannot get over what Corbin Carroll did for the Diamondbacks in Game 7 of the NLCS.
It's insane.
He had a part. He either scored or drove in every single run that the Diamondbacks scored.
He outscored the Phillies himself single-handedly.
If you combine his runs scored and his RBI. Yeah, I mean, all four runs the D-backs scored in the game. It was in the first inning. Corbin Carroll singled and then advanced to third on a Gabby Moreno single, scored on a fielder's choice. He had a clutch 2-out RBI single with Emmanuel Rivera at second later in the game. He then stole second and scored himself on a Gabby Moreno RBI single. And then a few innings later, he hit a sacrifice fly that brought in the Diamondbacks' fourth run of the game. So he didn't have a great NLCS. I think he was 3 for 23 in the first 6 games of the NLCS. Yeah. But in Game 7, when it mattered most, he showed up, and that's what superstar caliber players do.
Yeah, it was there's a phrase we throw around here way too much and did way too much during the postseason run. Usually it was involving legacy at bats. But this game was a legacy game for Corbin Carroll. Like Jesse said, just everything he was able to do in such a huge game where you just didn't think logistically the Diamondbacks would even have a chance, especially after going back to Philly down 3-2 and having to win 2 games in Philly, both games 6 and 7 to advance. Like it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense that this is when Corbin steps up and has his biggest moment. And there was a lot of criticism thrown his way throughout the playoffs, which I almost think was an indication of how good he became throughout the season and was at times during the postseason, where it seemed like people completely forgot that this kid is a 23-year-old rookie doing some of this stuff that, like you said, you would expect out of superstars in the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, I think he had like a 1385 OPS or something in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So that being the Brewers series and the Dodgers series, which is just absolutely insane. And then in the NLCS, there was this narrative of like, man, the Phillies like kind of figured out Corbin Carroll. He wasn't really making.
Why aren't you running?
Yeah,
Why aren't you running?
Oh
Why aren't you running?
I'm never gonna. I'm still tired of having that conversation.
For real, it was crazy.
But he wasn't on base that much. I mean, like I said earlier, 3 hits in the first 6 games of the NLCS. The Phillies were pitching him inside a lot. It seemed like there were a lot of jam shot kind of hits that just didn't really go anywhere. I think they had a pretty good plan of attack against him, and it worked pretty well. But yeah, I mean, how fitting was it that when the Diamondbacks advanced to the World Series, it was Corbin Carroll who settled under that fly ball and made the catch that sent him there. I mean, he was the reason that the Diamondbacks were anywhere close to the playoffs this year in the first place. And even though he didn't have a great NLCS overall, he was the reason that the Diamondbacks won that Game 7.
A lot of our top moments here are specifically because of the weight of those, right? Another top moment, number 2 on your list would be Corbin hitting that 2-run triple in the World Series, which just seemed insanity, right? Like it was like, I don't know. Like that was the one where it seemed like he might have even had maybe a chance to like just go for the inside the park.
Maybe, Leody Taveras did not play it well at all. Honestly, he maybe should have made the catch or at the very least cut it off to hold Corbin to a single. He did not, and if you let the ball roll to the fence, any center fielder will tell you that Corbin Carroll is probably going to wind up on third base if the ball gets all the way to the fence. And that's exactly what happened. Corbin winds up on third. This was in Game 1 of the World Series. The Diamondbacks were down 2-0 early in this game, and it was a 2-run triple that tied the game for the Diamondbacks. And then very soon thereafter, Corbin Carroll scored from third base on a ground ball on the infield. And that was like equally impressive. Corbin scored from third with 1 out on a ball to the first baseman that, even though he was going on contact, and it very much looked like Corbin was going to be a dead duck at home. I mean, basically any base runner in the sport, I think, would have been a dead duck at home in that situation. So not Corbin Carroll. He was able to find a way to, I don't think a tag was even really ever made by Jonah Heim, and the Rangers were taking a look, see if they wanted to challenge, and then they realized that Jonah Heim never even like got his glove on Corbin Carroll. I mean, that was a really impressive showing, and it turned a 2-0 deficit into a 3-2 Diamondbacks lead. Of course, the Diamondbacks didn't go on to win that game because of some things that happened late. But it was still on the World Series stage for Corbin to shine in that way. Had to be one of the best moments of his season.
We're not going to talk about the way that game ended. We're not even going to bring it up. Why? Who's bringing it up? Who's talking about that? But he also had the 2-run homer in Game 1 of the National League wildcard game, which just felt like
big.
That was it just felt like it kicked things off for this entire postseason run. Like, especially again, you're like, there's that opinion of how are we going to see this guy, operate? How is he going to, play here? He had some big games down the stretch, right? He had like a huge game in Chicago against the White Sox there, like that they did lose that game, but he was very good in that game. Like, but you just don't know how some of these young players are going to respond in the playoffs. And Corbin proved right away that we were going to see more of what we saw in the regular season in the playoffs from him.
Yeah. Another one that I have at number 4 on my list is Corbin becoming the first 25-50 player of all rookies that have ever been rookies in this sport. And just the way that he did it was pretty spectacular. Yeah. I mean, he entered, it was September 20th against the Giants. He entered the game with 24 homers and 48 stolen bases. He stole a base in the first inning. He stole another base in the third inning, I think it was, to get to 50. And then a few innings later, he hits a home run. I think it was against Ryan Walker. I think it was on the first pitch that he saw. And there you go. Suddenly, Corbin Carroll is 25-50. And I asked him yesterday, what are kind of the moments that stand out as you think back on this rookie season? And this was when he was talking about sort of his personal accomplishments. He said that that was a moment he's going to remember forever, hitting that home run for his 25th of the season.
He also had a couple of walk-offs. He had one that completed a walk-off 2-run single that completed a 4-game sweep of the Rockies. He had a walk-off single against the Pirates, and that was off of their closer, David Bednar, right?
That was off of David Bednar. Yeah, that walk-off against the Rockies was that was his first ever walk-off
of his entire career.
His entire life.
Is
at least what he said, which was a little bit hard to believe, but I guess that's possible.
I mean, it could be, right? Like, I mean, it's not very likely, but at the same time, you know, especially when you look at his professional playing career being so short, he really didn't have a lot of time in the minors for those kind of games to occur. So
that's fair. Yeah, he was in the minor leagues for like 10 days. So I guess how would he possibly have had a walk-off hit?
He had 3 games in Amarillo. He had 4 games at Reno, and then he was on the main roster. But
a couple of other crazy things about those walk-offs, and I'm kind of giving away like the best. At least some of the most interesting part of the article. And this article is not behind the paywall, but maybe it should be. Maybe I should change it. No, so Corbin Carroll on that hit against David Bednar that won that game for the Diamondbacks. I think it was bases loaded, 1 out. He knocks what would have been an extra base hit, but they only needed a single in order to win the game. That was the lowest pitch that Corbin Carroll has turned around for a hit all season. If you go back and look at the replay of that hit against David Bednar, this pitch was way inside and it was way down in the zone. And somehow Corbin Carroll just smoked it down the right field line for an extra base hit. And similarly, that walk-off against the Colorado Rockies, I remember we talked about this in the moment, it was way off the outside part of the plate. I think it was Pierce Johnson on the mound for Rockies. I think it was a fastball, maybe 6 inches off the outside part of the plate. And Carroll just goes with it and gets a hit to the opposite field and turns what would have been like an out in that situation, would have lost the game for the Diamondbacks. They were losing, and there were 2 outs in the 9th inning, but a 2-run single was good enough to turn what would have been a loss into a win. So just the way that he did those things was really remarkable.
It's just what he did all season long. I mean, he had the 2-run go-ahead homer against the Reds. Bottom of the 8th on August 24th. That was very crucial there. Again,
if the D-backs don't win that game, they theoretically don't make the playoffs.
It's crazy.
Because it takes 1 win away from them. It adds 1 win to the Reds. And the D-backs finished 2 games ahead of the Reds, and the Reds had the tiebreaker. So theoretically, if Corbin Carroll doesn't hit that 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th on August 24th to flip that game in the D-backs' favor, then that turns in, I mean, the D-backs theoretically, there's no World Series, there's no NLCS, there's no playoffs to begin with. So crazy to think about how big that was in retrospect.
It really was. Well, you also have Corbin Carroll appearing in the All-Star game and several other things there on the top 10 list. So make sure to check out Jesse's list over at gophnx.com when that article drops, because there's so many moments. There's things that wouldn't even make the top 10, but probably deserve to. And I mean, I know people have their own personal favorite moments, like when I thought his entire season was done and then he came back the next day.
That was the best moment of the season is when it looked like it was over and Corbin Carroll was in the lineup the very next day. Yeah. You could argue that should be a top 5 moment for Corbin Carroll in 2023. But yeah, there were other things that, and I'm sure I'm going to get angry comments from people coming up with different things that weren't included.
Becoming the first lefty to ever hit a home run off of a Clayton Kershaw curveball, right?
That was pretty crazy.
That's huge. Was that in the playoffs?
That was not in the playoffs.
That was in the game earlier in the season, right?
Yeah, I don't think did he homer against? I think he did homer against
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
I think it might have been off of another curveball.
I think you're right. I think it was another curveball.
I think he's done it twice. He's done it once.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's accurate. But yeah, the moment I was talking about was when he became the first to do it, which happened in the regular season. I remember back on April 2nd, one of the first games of the season, he stole 3 bases off of Will Smith, 2 of them on like consecutive pitches, and Will Smith didn't get a throw off on any of the 3 stolen bases. So it's kind of a showing of dominance just with the way that he can impact a game in that way. There's a bunch of them.
We could be
here all day.
Yeah, yes. Especially if we could actually show you these clips that we're talking about instead of just trying to describe them to you. But the
article will have video from Twitter.
Yeah,
so
there you go. So you can go see all of those wonderful hits. So make sure not to miss that. Also, make sure to not miss out on checking out Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We were there this weekend and had an absolute blast. Nobody does it better than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. They offer an authentic and immersive experience. And I say you can absolutely get away from everything by going there. You can have the fine dining. You can be lounging poolside. You got the staycation. You stay in the room. You got the gaming. You got a lot of different options. They have a lot of slot machines, 800 slot machines, 15 blackjack tables. They also have live table games, not to mention Arizona's largest casino sportsbook. So do not miss out. The dining is also incredible, and you can grab a cocktail, stay for a little while. Even if you don't want to stay at the hotel, just come out, check it out. It's a great night. My wife's favorite thing to do on her birthday is to go play bingo at and I promise you, she's not a 75-year-old woman. She actually is very. I don't know. I talk about my age all the time, so I won't talk about hers. But I will say, no matter what age you are, as long as you're over 21, you can check out everything that Gila River Resorts and Casinos has to offer. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. And also, great way to get going on your financial future here in the Valley is with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. For more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. They offer you the financial expertise that you're looking for. And of course, they are always concerned about you and your financial needs and not the financial needs of someone else. You can look to Desert Financial for checking and savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. You can join a credit union that is committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with their members. When you do open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Thanks again to all of you that are already diehard members. If you are not a diehard member, check out that option today. Get yourself a free t-shirt, and I have the perfect shirt for you to grab on Corbin Carroll Day. It is the Corbin Carroll shirt, our National League Rookie of the Year. Make sure to grab that today. You can get that as part of your diehard package for free, or any shirt that you choose over at the PHNXlocker.com. You also get 20% off all future purchases, get access to our members-only Discord lounge, you get Jesse's newsletter, and so much more, including discounts with so many of our partners, which will really benefit you. You also get access to members-only merchandise, members-only events, all sorts of exclusive stuff. So sign up today and become a diehard member. Corbin Carroll is, in fact, the first Arizona Diamondback to ever win the Rookie of the Year award. The Diamondbacks were the only team in baseball that has never had a Rookie of the Year winner. That's a wild fact.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been around for very long compared to most other teams. So
the Rays,
the Rays had Evan Longoria back in 2008.
We know that guy. We're familiar with him.
We know that guy.
We got a picture of those two guys together. David, throw that guy back up. This is the guy, Evan Longoria and Corbin Carroll. Look at him out there using his teammate status to get him to autograph rookie cards. I know that's all he was doing. He probably had a whole book, like the guys that show up at the airport and had just Corbin sitting there for hours signing everything.
That's why he signed with the Diamondbacks in the first place, just to get that Corbin Carroll autograph.
It was a fucking long con, and it worked out perfectly.
I mean, it's that valuable.
Man, that's incredible. But
there's no way that he ever would have gotten an autograph if he didn't play for the Diamondbacks. Never would have happened.
It's true.
I have to give a shout out here to Brandon Webb, who absolutely should have won the NL Rookie of the Year just 5 years into the Diamondbacks' existence back in 2003. In Brandon Webb's rookie season, he hit 100 with a 120 slugging percentage. Sorry, those are his hitting stats. He went 10-9 with a 2.84 ERA and a 1.15 WHIP. 180 and 2/3 innings. He pitched in 29 games that year, 28 starts. The Rookie of the Year was former Diamondback Dontrelle Willis, who was very good for the Marlins for a number of years, but he was not as good as Brandon Webb. Brandon Webb was at 5.9 wins above replacement on Baseball Reference. Dontrelle Willis at 4.4. Willis had a higher ERA, 3.30. He had a higher WHIP at 1.28. He pitched 20 fewer innings than Brandon Webb did. He did go 14-6. I guess this is back in the days when record was really important, and the Marlins were a pretty darn good team in 2003. So I imagine that factored in pretty significantly. Dontrelle Willis also hit 241 and had a 606 OPS. So he completely embarrassed Brandon Webb from an offensive standpoint. So maybe that's what this came down to.
Hey, we didn't have the DH in the National League back then. Things were different.
Yeah,
that was a stat that mattered.
Pitchers were assessed solely based off of their offensive value. Everyone knows that's how it worked before the DH.
It's like the Silver Slugger Award, basically, but for pitchers.
Scott Pasednik finished second, and he was good. He hit 314. Imagine also an era where batting average was valued a lot more highly than it probably is now. He had an 822 OPS, only had 9 homers, but had 43 stolen bases. Scott Pasednik did have a really solid major league career. But again, 3.6 wins above replacement compared to the 5.9 for Brandon Webb. Seems pretty clear who should have won that award to me.
2BMC says 2003 arguably the most overall disappointing year in D-backs history. Maybe 2004 was the worst year.
Things got ugly real
history.
quick.
Yeah, things went downhill fast. Piece of Yoshi is asking about Cogs being the new beat reporter and saying he's not even here once again. Then his mom, Karen, says Derek fired Cogs. That is correct. I did fire Cogs last night on Twitter because he didn't show up for his first day of work. And here's day 2. And he's still not, like, he pleaded with me to come back to work. And then he didn't even show up today. So
like,
I don't know about his commitment level.
Something.
Yeah, like his school.
Yeah, what kind of excuse
education?
Is that?
Come on. I will teach you now. I am your teacher. I am your professor.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, well, whatever. You guys are also all under my learning tree, whether you like it or not. Wade Miley was maybe another potential candidate for a Rookie of the Year in 2012. I know he had a really good season that year.
He did, yeah. 16-11, a 3.33 ERA, a 1.18 WHIP.
I know that for a fact because that was my first year covering this team as as a reporter.
Vivid memories of
I do,
Wade Miley.
Yeah.
194 in 2/3 innings that year for Wade Miley. He was durable for the D-backs. And I mean, some guy named Bryce Harper was also a rookie that year and wound up winning the award. You could make a case, like I don't know. I've seen some people sounding off on Twitter about the grave injustice that was Wade Miley not winning the Rookie of the Year in 2012.
Yes.
I don't know if I really see it. I mean,
get your pitchforks.
Bryce Harper, an 817 OPS, 22 homers, 18 stolen bases. It's always a little tricky to compare hitters and pitchers in this award.
To be fair, Bryce Harper, like, he had such an aura about him, like he
a vibe.
Yeah, such a vibe. But then those numbers were like kind of disappointing by comparison. Because you just expected like him to come in and hit 50 home runs his first season as a rookie, the way that they hyped him up. So
I mean, he had 5.2 wins above replacement on Baseball Reference compared to 3.3 for Wade Miley. That's a pretty decent difference.
Pretty significant. And he was still very, very good for a rookie. So, but I mean, none of that matters because now we have a Rookie of the Year. Now we got our guy.
It was so close though. In 2012, Bryce Harper had 112 points and Wade Miley had 105.
Oh wow,
that's really close.
I had no idea it was that close.
Harper had, it looks like, 16 first place votes. Wade Miley had 12.
Wow.
So it was much more controversial
than you would think.
Than this. Well, yeah, I was going to compare it to this year when everyone knew who was going to win the award in both leagues.
And I don't remember, like, of course, there's a lot of bong resin and malted hops up here, Jesse. But I don't remember Wade Miley like getting that like love, like here locally we did because of what he was doing. But I just don't remember him kind of breaking out and becoming like a huge national story. But I don't know. I was very wrapped up in trying to figure out how to do this job that we do now. So Lord knows what I was thinking back then in 2012.
It is pretty impressive how Wade Miley has aged. Like, I know he's dealt with some injuries, but Wade Miley's still pitching. Yeah. He's pretty good.
He's still really good.
Wade Miley had a 3.14 ERA this year.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Brewers. Maybe he would have won Rookie of the Year this year, Derek. I don't know.
maybe if they threw him out there and at some point during that postseason series with us, maybe would have done something.
Yeah, D-backs didn't see Wade Miley. He's 36 now. Just turned 37. Happy birthday to Wade Miley.
Today?
He turned 37 yesterday.
Oh my God, happy birthday, Wade Miley.
There you go.
Well, another guy that we are very interested in his future and how he might fare when it comes to the Rookie of the Year award is Jordan Lawler. And we're going to, of course, ponder if he has any chance at it. Obviously, we have no idea how he's going to perform. next year. And based on the small sample size we saw this year, it doesn't really look like he's, lighting the world on fire at the dish or anything like that. But according to Jim Callis from MLB.com, he had Lawler as his top candidate for the National League 2024 Rookie of the Year, which this was at the end of September. And, of course, a lot could change between now and even next season, let alone, once, voting for this award would happen. But just an interesting thought that if the Diamondbacks here, they've never had a Rookie of the Year before in franchise history, and now they could potentially have back-to-back Rookie of the Year, and at a time where it matters more than ever due to those draft picks that we started the show off talking about.
Yeah, could you imagine like Jordan Lawler wins it in 2024, Drew Jones wins it in 2025.
Keep the train rolling. It's the dynasty.
They're just going to get so used to having
Gabriel had a tweet
pick.
about that. Yeah, he was like the dynasty, right? Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. But I mean, it is really, really big for a franchise that relies so much on, the farm system, on young players, on getting those guys through the draft, that this really does have a crazy impact on this team going forward. And should Lawler's name actually rise up to become maybe one of the top guys next year, that's crazy what the implications could be for this franchise going forward should he actually win it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anyone would feel as confident about Jordan Lawler winning it next year as how they felt about Corbin Carroll winning it this year.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, this year Corbin Carroll he wasn't the only guy in the conversation, right?
And Lawler, to be fair, isn't even on some people's top 10 for rookies next year, right? So I mean,
it probably depends.
There's some big there's differences in opinion when it comes to him.
It's just tough when you see a guy struggle the way that Jordan Lawler did at the end of the year to believe he's going to, just suddenly, just be able to turn it around that dramatically. Definitely possible though. We'll see I could see a scenario where Jordan Lawler doesn't play in the majors until like June or July next year. And I could also see a scenario where Jordan Lawler is like the D-backs opening day shortstop or something. Like if he has a crazy good spring, and I'm sure that'll be one of the main storylines that we're monitoring come February and March.
Well, another story we're monitoring is this trade deadline that is approaching very quickly, and I am actually scouring the internet right now just to see if we might have missed something, Jesse.
I mean, it's not really a trade deadline per se. There is no trade deadline on November 14th.
It's to add players for the Rule 5 draft so that they could not get
to protect
them from the Rule 5 draft, right? Yes. They have to be added to the 40-man roster. I think Elise said something earlier on about if we would see any potential 40-man roster changes. I do know that one name that was brought up was Christian Robinson, and that he might potentially be a guy they add to the roster to protect him. Do you see that happening?
I don't think so. The D-backs a couple months ago made the decision to designate Christian Robinson for assignment, which essentially allowed any other team in the league to pick him up and be able to. They would have had to keep him on their 40-man roster, but they wouldn't have had to keep him in the majors. If you select someone in the Rule 5 draft, you have to keep them in the majors for the entire season. Otherwise, they go back to the team that you got them from. So, if the D-backs, based on the decision the D-backs made a few months ago, I would be pretty surprised if they felt the need to put Christian Robinson on the 40-man roster. Do you think there's a good chance you'll see Blake Walston added to the 40-man roster today? He is Rule 5 eligible, so he's one guy that would make a lot of sense there. Davison De Los Santos is also Rule 5 eligible. Don't know what the D-backs will do there. I could see a scenario where they add him, but I'm not sure that's a guarantee. He's had some struggles in Double-A this year defensively. I think is maybe good enough at third base, but is a team really going to look at Davison De Los Santos as like, we want that guy to play third base and be on our opening day roster and be on our active roster the entire season? I don't know if that's really a realistic way that people would view him. So there could be some activity today. I think there's a good chance Blake Walston will get added, and we'll see what else happens.
Could also be some trades made. I know that at this time last year was when the Diamondbacks made the Kyle Lewis trade with Seattle.
Yeah.
And we've already seen, I think Pete Svioshi says Phillies and Brewers made a trade. They swapped minor leaguers already there. So no earth-shattering trades, and there's good potential that we might not see any earth-shattering trades until after the winter meetings when all the GMs get a chance to get back together?
Yeah, probably a decent chance that's the case. Any moves that you see today, I wouldn't expect them to be super significant. The D-backs made the Kyle Lewis Cooper Hummel trade on November 17th, so basically right at this time last year. I think they also acquired Carlos Vargas around this time last year, if I'm not mistaken. The chance you could see some movement today, but I don't think the D-backs are going to trade for Corbin Burns today or anything like that. Those moves are
off a little bit.
Those moves are inevitable, but they're just not going to happen yet. So we'll see how things turn out here. 4 p.m. Arizona time, so just a couple hours until that deadline.
Well, I did want to say, and this is news to us. I think someone else brought it up in the chat. Apparently, the owner of the San Diego Padres, Peter Seidler, has passed away.
Yeah,
and I know how he was beloved by fans of that team. So we send our heartfelt, obviously condolences in regards to this. And I believe he was the owner that was like out hanging out with the fans when they were here, and literally like shaking people's hands and just like just kicking it with the people. So that's got to be a huge loss for that franchise. So definitely our condolences on that. But we thank you guys for being here, and we will be back tomorrow. And when I say we, I mean one of us. Well, me and Damon.
Well, Damon will still be back.
Damon will be here.
We don't give Damon days off around here. That doesn't happen.
This guy though, he's just abandoning us. He's like going to go on some adventures around the state or some shit. I have no idea what's happening, but he will be wearing a Shady Rays the whole time, and I'll require him to drink plenty of water. But of course, if you go on adventures around Arizona, make sure you have some Shady Rays. It is gear built to last, premium polarized shades, as good as the very, very expensive brands without costing you as much, and quite possibly with a better lost and broken replacement plan than any of those, because Shady Rays tells us that if you lose or break your sunglasses, even on day one, they will send you out a brand new pair. No questions asked, no guilt, no shame, none of that. They're just going to send you out the sunglasses you lost, the sunglasses you broke.
You don't think there'd be some shame if you lost them the day that you got them?
No. Because they specifically say no questions asked. So how would there be shame if there's no follow-up question other than, is this your correct current shipping address?
If I were them, I would want to ask a few questions before sending you a new pair of shades.
I mean, see, that's why they're better than you. That's why they run a quality sunglass company and you don't, because they're a broken and replacement
FedEx
plan.
delivered them 37 minutes ago. How would you already lost them?
I have a deep couch. And I can't get into it. I don't know what to tell you. Also, though, if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a new pair or get your money back for free within 30 days. No risk at all when you shop. You can shop online at their website at shadyrays.com or at their location here in town at Kierland Commons. Of course, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Also, check out our friends from BetMGM. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, do it today. Join us. Become part of Damon's Dogs. You can do that by betting on BetMGM. Damon, how did you do on your bets yesterday?
Today was my worst day, or yesterday was my worst day I've had in ever.
Yeah.
Even Damon's mom is disappointed.
Lost it all.
I embarrassed. I tweeted.
You embarrassed the family?
I embarrassed my family yesterday, and my mom responded and said she was really disappointed.
Fantastic.
Damon, you can come to my family's place for Thanksgiving. I just want you to know we'll take
That's a good offer. That's a good offer.
My offer got taken away after my 0-3 day yesterday.
Yeah, no, I get it. They don't even. You're like, I was gonna bring sweet potatoes. They're like, bro, it's okay. You don't have to bring nothing because we don't want you here with your loser ways. But I will tell you this: one way for you to bet on BetMGM and without the risk is to get $200 instantly in additional winnings just by signing up using our code of PHNX. All you have to do is download the app using iOS or Android, or visit betmgm.com and sign up with our promo code of PHNX. When you deposit at least $10 into your newly created account and place that amount as a wager or more on a standard odds price bet, you will receive a $200 instantly in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager, as long as you place that qualifying bet. Sign up for BetMGM now. Use that bonus code of PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application of at least $10. You will receive $200 instantly in additional winnings regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
There we go. We did it. All right. Well,
when I come back next week, I'm gonna forget.
Yeah, you're all. It's gonna. I know, and I have to teach like 3 new people to do it over the next 3 days. Why do we do that? This is terrible.
Sean, I think, is the one who started that, and I've never understood why we all say.
Why do we do any of traditions? Why do we do any of these holidays? Why do anything? We do it because somebody before us did it, and now this is just what we do now. Why do I have to position an elf on a shelf every single night? And now she's 12. She knows it's not real, Jesse, but she's still playing the game. Now I have to be more creative than ever. The elf's pooping in chocolate and doing stuff. Yeah, you got to get, because see, they're older and they want their sense of humor changes. Now she's in that whole like, oh, I think it's funny for an elf to poop in a jar. Like that's where we're at in life. And I don't want any of this. I didn't ask for this, but this is what happens when traditions are created. So you will say Ontario every goddamn time. Anyway, we thank you guys, of course, for listening to us and following our traditions. We always appreciate that. Of course, a hearty ski to you all before we get out of here. Make sure to follow us all on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, the people's producer, Damon, is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's Dogs.
Barf,
woof, woof. Of course, our show's at PHNX_DBacks, but all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for your time. We appreciate you. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's just so much more fun when you're Corbin Carroll.
We all silly like the mayor.